We're
Yes! I love the
back.
new intro.
We are back, you guys. We are back. We are back. We are back. We've missed you. Happy 2025. Uh,
Happy 20. Joslo! Woo!
Jaslo.
What is
I
this?
said, what is this? Guys, I know I missed you. April and I have missed each other. Ty's way, hey girl, hey. We've missed you. You know, I had lifing. I needed to take a moment to get my life together. And so I am happy to report that 2025, we're back with a vengeance. There'll be a lot more content. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Um, Joslo is like,
Yeah,
where
yeah. Joslo, you're justified in your rage.
Where
Just
were you in rage? In rage. Um, you guys, I've been putting all the pieces back together after like the pandemic and Hollywood shutting down and all of those things. But we're back. So what's important is moving forward. So make sure you like, subscribe to both myself and April because we are coming back with a vengeance, you
a
guys.
vengeance.
April, do you want to say something?
No, I'm just so happy. I'm sorry I'm a horse, but I'm really excited. I think I didn't know if Linda was gonna go for it, but she did, and we're here.
I was like, of course, because I've been wanting to come back and talk with you guys and talk smack, and I have so much to say. And, you know, April teaches me some things because, you know, you all always agree with April,
I have
but
so many
I'm
opinions.
still stuck in my Canadian ways. So here we are. Guys, we will be Raydella! Happy New
Woohoo!
Year!
Happy New Year.
We will be covering season 2. We're starting at episode 1 of 90 Day, The Last Resort, because these couples are TV gold, you guys. They're TV gold. And oh, by the way, I know like my fancy home studio is down for the count. I think it's because I haven't used them forever. It's like just like Joslo said, like what the is happening. So I'll get that fixed and we'll get it sorted, and we'll all be back and we'll be back in action. All right. Overall thoughts. Oh, by the way, you guys, if you're not following April on TikTok, head over there because she is a TikTok star. Okay.
So I use TikTok under my pseudonym. So you got to look for Abby the attorney. This is because I don't want my clients to find me. You
A
have no
mess.
idea what it's like to want to do something fun, and a client will message you like, "Where's my work permit?" Like, just have fun.
Right. I'm on break. So I'll get back to you during my normal working hours.
Right. Okay. So my first thought was I was excited about every single couple that walked in. There was no couple that I was like snooze fest, don't want to see them. I was excited about every couple.
Agreed. Every couple is bringing so much drama, you guys, way more than season 1, and it's like oozing out of their pores. And so, one of the things I want us to do when we're talking, we'll talk about each couple and then talk about the whole episode. But I want you to tell me what you think the issue is. You guys weigh in the comments. If you're watching later, weigh in the comments below. Then I'm going to say what I think the issue is because you guys, as you know, many of you guys who have followed me for years, you guys know that I say there are 4 things that you have to talk about before you get in a serious committed relationship. And clearly, some of these couples never had that conversation. And one of the couples changed his or her mind mid coupledom. And that's not
Right.
okay. And I want to talk about that as well. So, do you remember the 4 things, April?
I know one of them was finances.
Yes.
I'm gonna guess the other 3 because I don't remember.
Okay.
But I think let's say one is kids.
Yes.
Okay. Was one of them religion?
Yes.
Okay. Is the last one where you want to live?
Sexy time.
Oh, sexy time, sexy time. How can I forget that? Because I haven't had any in so long. It's a desert over here. Party
That's
for
right,
one.
Joslo. That's right. So, religion. Are you religious? Are you not religious? How do you want to raise kids if you are religious or you're not religious? How are you moving forward if one person's a Bible thumper and the other person's agnostic? That's a conversation you need to have. Sex. I always talk about it. I always tell you about it. It's very important in a relationship. I don't care what people say. We're seeing it play out in this season
Yeah,
where
a lot.
sex is a huge issue. You need to be realistic about what you like, how often you want to do it, what are the things you like to do, if you're like prudish, how important is it to you, because it has to match your partner.
Right.
Yes. Children. Do you want children? Do you not want children? Do you want to adopt children? Do you want to foster children? Or children your animals? Have that conversation, because if you don't have that conversation, guaranteed it's going to come up in your relationship. And last and certainly not least, money. Do you have money? Do you not have money? How do you spend money? How do you save money? How do you pay your bills? Do you pay your bills on time? Do you pay your bills late? What's your credit like? All of those things are very important, you guys, because you know what? One person can be a spender, the other person cannot be a spender. The other person is racking up bills and racking up credit, and all of a sudden, that's an argument you're going to have. So clearly, these couples have not had these conversations. So let's get into it. Going where you Joslo said, how's your list going? Weren't you making a list of what you want from a man? Listen, Joslo, I was barely getting my life together. I have not been dating. Okay. Had a few cat calls, had a few like sliding in the DMs. FYI, if you know me, guys, sliding into my DMs, excuse me, I don't know what to do with it. I'll read it, but like I need you to do something different. Sliding in my DMs and saying, hey, what's up? Doesn't work for me. Does it work for you?
Not, hey, what's up? Just, but if you say something more than that, like, are you hungry?
Happy New Year, Jessica. Yeah, I mean, if you mention tacos or wine, then maybe you might get my attention. But be creative, not the hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And also, we're not circling back in 2025, by the way.
No circling back.
So if you fumbled any year before 2025, don't hit me up with the same behavior, because like this new Korean skincare with the glow up, I'm not going back.
Good for you. Good for you, Linda. I'm not circling back either.
All right, let's get to see. This is how we get off on a tangent.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's me too. I just talk. You know, my mom said I was saying something to her. She's like, you know, you talk a lot. Okay. Okay. First couple, Jasmine, 39. Love Jasmine. I feel like Jasmine's been 39 for a long time, but that's just me. Gino, 55. You know, they met on a sugar baby site, which was a really great reminder because I had forgotten about that whole thing. They were long distance for 3 years, been married for 9 months. However, thank you so much for the super sticker. You guys are so great. You guys are so great. Oh, you're glowing. Thank you.
You are.
It's the Korean skincare. I'll tell you guys all about it on a different little thing, but it's changed my life. Okay. Okay. 39, 55, long distance, 3 years, married for 9 months. However, what's crazy about that? What's going on here? What's crazy about that is that they've been not sleeping in the same bed for 8 months. So you got married for 1 month, had like that honeymoon phase, and then boom, now you guys are in separate rooms. Have a love-hate relationship. Part of the problem is Gino is cheap, which is interesting because you're on a sugar daddy site. You found a sugar baby. I don't understand how you're being tight with your money.
Now.
But I thought it was funny when they popped in April, and the first thing he noticed was like breakfast not included.
Breakfast.
And notice that he wouldn't like, oh, we have a bellhop. We can get your bags to your room. Oh, no, because you know what? He's not a tipper.
No.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on what their issues are?
Okay. So the last time that I saw them, they were having issues because Jasmine anticipated her children being able to come quicker, and he didn't fill out, sorry, y'all, I'm congested, the right paperwork. and she wanted to go to the gym and he wouldn't take her, which led to a seemingly larger issue of her not having any independence there in Michigan. So I figured they're showing up for the same issues.
Okay. I think, and you guys let us know in the chat what you think the issues are. I think that Gino has some sexual dysfunction. I think that Gino probably oversold how much money he has. And I think that they don't know how to communicate. So they're in two separate places in their lives and they're not like connecting at all. So Jessica says she believes they have no intimacy at all. Listen, you're married and y'all haven't had sex in 8 months?
That's crazy. We do know that he has some some kind of erectile dysfunction though, because remember the first time he went to Panama, he traveled with he's making a joke out of his little blue pills.
Yep. He definitely
he wasn't using those for fun.
Yeah, no, he definitely has some sexual dysfunction that I don't know if he's like, yeah, you can get your blue pills, but you have to get to what the root of the issue is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just be like, hey, this medicine anytime, because now it's 8 months later. Did you run out of pills? Like, I don't get it. I thought that was funny too. So, oops, wrong one. A bit of a corn addiction. She berates him too and probably demanding. And I thought it was funny. She let him run into the I laughed. I was like, that is completely Jasmine. Speaking of Jasmine, you guys, I haven't posted about it yet because I was trying to get the real tea. So there's a rumor. Spoiler alert! There's a rumor that Jasmine is pregnant. And allegedly, she's pregnant with not Gino's baby. I tried to get an official statement, and you guys will have to head over to my Instagram and my TikTok for her official, non-official statement. But I will say this. I saw a video today that I will also post later today that seemingly could be true. That's all I'll say about that right now. Moving on. Excuse me, you guys. Natalie and Josh. Natalie, again, 39 for the longest, in my opinion. Josh, 43, who acts like he's 25, but like, fool, you're 43. And I'll get into my issues, but you're 43. Josh lives in Arizona, so he didn't have to go far. She really, in my opinion, Natalie is in love with this guy and wants to like put her hooks in, move to Arizona, pop out a baby, and call it a day. They've never lived together. They have great sex. He's never invited her to his place, which is a red flag. You haven't been to his home in 3 years. Stop it. Josh thinks that their relationship is complicated because he knows that her end goal is a committed relationship, and I don't feel like he's giving commitment vibes. Had a hard year last year. Son was in a terrible accident where his friend lost his life and his son lost his leg. So I get that his focus has been in a different area. His family comes first, right? But during that time, he reconnected with Natalie, and they've been reconnected for a month. And what I thought was funny was they get to the resort. Josh has obviously been there before, but he's quick on his feet. When Natalie asked, like, who did you come with? He's like, obviously myself, when you all know that he did not go to that resort by himself. No way. And then Natalie, we see her jealous tendencies come out when she talks to the front desk person. It's like, hey, what's your name? I'm going to call you. You let me know if Josh ever shows up again alone. I was like, oh, ew. Okay, what do you think their issues are, April?
Josh's issue is he just wants to be on a TV show. And that's the first time I'm ever saying that about anybody. Natalie's issue is that she has a religious hang-up that she cannot have sex with more than X number of people or she's a bad person. And she is forcing herself to turn somebody that she had sex with into a relationship rather than just moving on to the next person because she doesn't want to add to her numbers.
That's fair. I think Natalie is 100% insecure about who she is as a person. I think
She
that she
is.
sees women, all women, as competition. I think that she gets validation through people complimenting her and her feeling like she's the most beautiful woman in the room. And however, there are many beautiful people, so it messes with her insecurities. I think that she's older now, and so she's starting to think that her value is not as high as some of the younger girls, and so that's messing with her. She's really trying to settle down. And I also think, if you guys remember, Natalie's been married 3 times, and 3 times the failure. So she's really thinking like, hey, I really need to lock this in. And I don't think she cares who it is. I just
No.
She wants insert man who will provide for me and give me a baby, period.
My
Comments
opinion, yeah.
excuse me.
My
Comments are
opinion on her. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
um Jessica says Natalie drives me nuts. She seems more desperate and conniving this season. Mila says, I don't like Natalie, but it was mean of him to say, well, have fun with everyone because already knows her insecurities. And Joslo says, too many issues in order to sustain a relationship.
Yeah. She wants a relationship so bad that she ends up pushing people away. You know, not just romantic relationships, but platonic relationships as well. She pushes people away when you know that she would love to actually have some friends. She'd love to have a romantic relationship, but she ends up pushing them all away. And my opinion of her in the beginning when I first saw them come in was like, oh, good. She's spicy. She'll be fun to watch. But then we'll talk later. My opinion on her is going to dramatically shift, and not a nice way.
So I think she makes good TV, but she's definitely mean girl material. And I agree with you. I think that if she was less of a mean girl, she would build her own community. And for example, Julia, this episode reaching out to her, and then the first thing she does is,
Are you
you
pregnant?
know, right, are you pregnant? First of all, who says that? And then tells her that she's put on weight. Like, are you
Yeah,
serious
she
right now?
immediately goes for the jugular.
Immediately with everybody. But that's also her insecurities, right? Because if she can make you feel less than, then it makes her feel better than. And I think that that's part of
Yeah,
her
but
building.
remember, she told Mike way back when, I'm a good girl. I'm a church girl. You don't treat me like this. So when you said that you think that she's jealous of other women, I wonder if, we'll never know probably, but I wonder if it's not so much jealousy as it is she's thinking, why do other people enjoy you and treat you well or whatever when I'm the good church girl and I'm not getting that? Like I was promised, I went to girls like this. And maybe this is me projecting too. I went to school with girls like this. A lot of girls who are now my age, I'm 44, they never got married, never had kids, and they're not jealous of me, but they will look at me and say, hey, but I was a good church girl and you weren't. So how come things happened for you? Because
Oh,
I was
okay.
promised that if I was a good girl and kept my legs closed, that good things would happen for me, and it didn't.
Fair. That's fair. That makes sense. Josla says, I feel the same way, April, trying too hard to the camera.
And maybe that's a part of it, trying to get some screen time.
She's
I
good
don't
TV
know.
though. She's good TV. I'm
She is
like,
good TV.
you
I was
need a
excited when
villain.
I saw her.
Yeah, you need a villain, and she's throwing villain out like no tomorrow. Okay, Stacy 49, Florian 32. I didn't realize Florian was so young. And you guys, if you haven't been over on my Instagram, Florian's been in the comments anytime I talk about The Last Resort, and this man is so funny. He's
He's
so funny.
hilarious.
His dry sense of humor and his bad
His
little attitude,
faces.
all of it, all of it, all of it.
Every
But you,
time they pan to him in the Stacey Floyd interviews, he's got he's got the best like looks of disgust and looks. He's like a dog and a pig in slop.
oh, I love it. I love it. And like deadpan all the time, April.
You cannot tell me that Floyd is not enjoying this.
Oh,
You cannot
100%.
tell me he's not enjoying every single moment.
On my Instagram, I posted a photo when they're out in the desert. Florian's not in the photo. So I'm just like, oh, I said something like 90 Day, the last resort squad, dot, 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 where is Florian? Question mark. And Florian's basically, I don't know these people. Another time, he's in a photo, and I said, "Oh, look who showed up for the group chat." And Florian said, "No, I'm just taking pictures with my fans."
I love it. I love it. And I was so glad too when Stacey showed up because she is a girl's girl.
Yeah, she really
Like,
is.
I love Stacey.
Yeah. It's interesting because as we get into season 2 or not season 2, episode 2, and Darcy shows up, and there was something said where Darcy said, excuse me, Florian should just be single. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's some twin situation going on there where it's like a competition or something. So Stacey was yelling at Florian. Yeah, I was here for it too. Okay, so they've been together for a long time, 5 years, right? And he's only 32. So he was really young when he got with her.
Yeah, he was.
So 49, 32. Florian's not about therapy. I don't think that's going to change over this whole season. He's like, in general, I don't like therapists. I like myself, so I don't need therapy. Stacey calls him a grumpy grandpa, and that is like 100% accurate as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't like surprises. They show up. One of the things I thought was interesting, April, is that the amount of luggage Stacey and Jasmine brought with them, like they were moving to Arizona.
Yeah, they both had a ridiculous amount of luggage, but neither of the men they were with was surprised by that.
Oh, not at all. They know they're women. They know it. Smoking is apparently an issue between the two of them. We found out that Stacey had some type of kidney issue, was rushed to the hospital, and Florian wasn't there for her. Instead, he was partying. So she feels like they're growing apart and he's not there for her. So that's going to be an issue for them. She's worried that Florian's not in it for the long haul as she gets older, right? Because she's 49, he's 32, he's still in his party phase. She wants to like be coupled up. And then, of course, drinking and the fact that he cheated before in the past. And so they have some trust issues. Those things are coming up. Mm-hmm. So what do you think their main issues are?
So when they showed up, I was like, oh, they're just here for fun. Because I mean, like, what issues they're supposed to? So if I was to make a guess, let's see, they're walking in. I'm guessing what are they going to talk about? I'm thinking, does Stacey still want to try to have kids? That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I had. Other than that, I was like, yeah, Stacey and her outfits.
Love her outfits. Hated the fact that she had her shoes on the bed. Like, yeah, you guys already know. I mean, if you know me, you know about the shoe thing. You know about the paper plate thing. And you're already in a hotel room. That's why it's like, you know what? It's nasty, you guys. Your outside shoes on the bed that you're going to sleep in. Your outside, it's disgusting. Like, what?
Your outside body shouldn't be on the bed.
That's right. What happened? Was I just raised differently? I don't know. It might be the blacks. It might be the Africans. I'm not sure. But let me tell you something. The suitcase on the bed. Yes, Joslo. Like, what? Y'all are, you know what they do at the airport with your suitcases and you're going to just roll up in the bed? Oh,
some people don't care. I had a roommate once who would go to bed without taking a shower. And Linda's frozen a little bit. No, and then she would make fun of me. You get up in the morning, take a shower. I'm like, yeah, you go to bed funky with your whole day on you.
Ugh. Yuck. So I think that their issues are going to be communication. I think it's going to be cheating and trust and bringing that back up. I'm not fully convinced that he hasn't been doing something. I'm not fully convinced.
Because she makes some comment about him going out.
Yeah, he goes out all the time till 5 a.m, comes back drunk, and gets into the bed. And her big thing was the makeup on his shirt. However, I give him the benefit of the doubt because that has happened when you hug someone and they have too much foundation on and you walk away and you see on your shoulder you have some makeup. I can see that happening.
That happens all the time. Every time I go to like a formal event.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. If that's all she has, then, you know, what did he say? You're making a dog into an elephant. It could just be that. Rob and Sophie. 34, Rob, Sophie 25, married. Didn't realize that Rob moved away from LA to Austin, Texas. I wonder what that is about. Was it for a job? I don't know. I felt like their opening scene where he was rubbing her down was a little extra. I thought it was a little extra when he talked about having full access versus not having full access. Thought that was a little extra. Their relationship is completely complicated. Didn't know she moved to Mexico and he was visiting her in Mexico. Like what? I don't know the backstory of that, but there they are. Issues are infidelity, arguing, breaking up to get back together, to break up again to get back together. So in both of their opinions, this is their final chance to give the relationship a go. Your thoughts?
So I think their issues are going to be Rob watching Corn, because that's what we saw last that she had an issue with, and her own, I don't want to say insecurities about it, but remember she was talking about how the Corn that he preferred to watch was a different body type than her. And it was all that same body type that was not like her. Um, So that's probably, I was thinking that, that might be continuing an issue. Also, Sophie dropped on us like 2 seasons ago that she was bisexual.
Right.
And then I feel like we never talked about it again. And
Yep.
that might be a part of what is happening here, is that she discovered she was bisexual and then never had a chance to explore that.
Jocelyn says, I don't think that she knows her own sexuality.
I didn't even look at your comment, Jocelyn, and there we are, same page.
And nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Tanya. Hi, Tanya. Hey, girl. Hey. Tanya says, oh my God, I'm so happy. I've missed you like crazy. I was so worried about all of you. I'm crying happy tears. Oh my God, that is so sweet. That is so sweet. We are back and we've missed you guys too. And we're just ramping up and, be ready for the nonsense. That's all I can say. Okay. I think that both of them do not know how to communicate. I think both of them have too much pride. And if this makes sense to you guys, I think each of them think that they're the prize in the relationship. And excuse me, you can't have two prizes in the relationship because then no one wins.
That's right, Mr. Simone Biles.
That part. So that part, that's exactly it. You and I are on the same page on this. So I think that's part of it. I also think too that I read an article about, I don't know, sometime during the holiday season. And the article said that men don't fully mature until they're 43.
What?
Yes. So I feel like that's part of it too, where there's some immaturity on both of their parts. And I think that they had no business getting married because clearly they've had no conversations about what long-term marriage looks like.
However, their little sectionals when they're speaking to the producer have been some of the most entertaining. You can actually see that they do enjoy talking and being around each other in a jovial, funny way that I didn't see in the show previously.
And I agree with that, but I feel like it's easier for them to talk about other people, which is also a form of immaturity.
Oh,
in my
you're
opinion,
right, Linda.
versus speaking to each other and having jovial conversations about your own relationship. It's easy. Listen, we're right here talking about other people's relationships. It's so easy to do. It's harder to have a conversation about your own relationship if you don't have the tools to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Rob needs to just compliment and put his girl up till and congratulate her for her success. All right. The most troublesome, in my opinion, is Ari and Benny, both 33 years old, married for 2 years, known each other for 5 years. They have a son together, Avi. Haven't seen each other in 4 months because she decided to pick up and take their son to Ethiopia. There's so much, you guys. There's so much. I want to hear your opinion first.
I have beef with the therapist where it comes to Benny and Ari, but I won't get into it yet. Oh, wait. So when they showed up, I was excited to see them because I wanted to see Binyam.
Okay.
And I actually like Ari. Outside of watching the show, full disclosure, I made a couple of posts about TPS, temporary protected status for Ethiopia. And Ari shared all of them because she is invested in helping people in Ethiopia, or at least it seems that way to me. And so I appreciate that. But I do have a problem with something the therapist did concerning them.
Tell us.
I don't think that anyone should be forced to participate in physical affection.
Wait, are we on episode 1 still?
I think so.
What
No.
happened?
Benny is extremely uncomfortable because have we got to the issue with his social media?
Yes.
Okay, he's extremely uncomfortable about this.
He's uncomfortable with the social media.
And she is, it seems, trying to barter his social media for physical affection.
Okay, I think that might not be in episode 1.
Okay.
I do think that she is using the social media as a vindictive tool to hold him hostage. Now, I'm on the fence, you guys, with Ari and Benny, and here's why. There are a couple of reasons. Love Ari. I think that she is trying to communicate. However, I think that she's hurt and in her feelings, and so she has some lethal words that are coming out of her mouth in order to hurt Benny as much as she feels he's hurt her. I think Benny is done. I think he's checked out of the relationship and he actually hates her and doesn't want anything to do with her, doesn't really want to work on the relationship. He just wants his social media because of the money and the return on investment that he's
and access to his child.
Does he say that though for the social media?
He's no, for the social media, no. No, for social media, no. I'm sorry. I interrupted you too fast. I think he's afraid that if he doesn't participate in something she wants to do, that he will lose access to his child.
Yes, I agree with you on the surface. However, there's something that Benny does because this is the second time where he's had a child with a woman and the woman gives him no access to the child. This is not the first time. He has an older son that he has no access to. We don't know the reason behind it. We can say it's the woman and it's all the things. However, here we are in the same place with a different woman, and he's the only common denominator. And I feel like if he was really worried about access to his son, then he would at least focus on mending the relationship to a point where you can co-parent with the person that you're no longer with. And to me, his focus is about his social media because he wants to be an MMA star and whatever stuntman and just to an online personality. Yeah. And what I'm saying is that his focus is off because it has to be more than that. It has to be, this is the mother of your child. You're dropping F-bombs, calling her an effing liar. When in fact, Benny, I too have seen the proof that you cheated. When you're kissing all up on another woman and holding hands with them and having dates with them, what exactly would you call that?
I think we are about to have our first divergence. Because if you leave the country And how do you, okay, let me phrase it this way. How do you leave the country and demand that I maintain being in a monogamous relationship with you when I had no part in you deciding to leave the country? I have no idea when you're coming back. How do you then demand that I'm still in a monogamous relationship with you?
Well, let me back up a little bit. So we don't know the fact, what we do know is that he cheated. She found that he cheated and she left. Do I agree that she should run away from her problems and take the kid? No, because that kid is 50-50. It's both of you guys. That's what I think.
So it was
However,
before. I thought it was while, okay, I thought it was like we're having problems. She goes to Ethiopia, and while she was gone, she starts seeing things that he was doing. But it was not like that. It was before she left. Okay.
he cheated.
Okay. Maybe we don't have a divergence. Also, Benny needs an interpreter, and I wish that they had provided him with one for these exercises. He clearly doesn't know everything that's going on.
And that's the other thing that I was going to say is that I feel like in order to maximize therapy, he has to really understand what the exercises are about, and they should have added a couple of dollars and got a translator, because they've gotten translators in the past, just to make sure that he knows exactly what's going on, right? Because you can see that he's struggling a little bit.
Mhm.
And when English is your second language, or if any language is your second language, you always like think twice, like, am I saying that right? And you're spending too much time trying to make sure you're saying it right and less time trying to understand because you're like worried. And that happens all the time. That happens all the time. So the other thing, you guys, and this might be an unpopular opinion, and this is why I'm struggling with these two, because I like Ari, but I do think Ari has control issues, and I do get some colonizer behavior from her. And I know you said, like, hey, it's great. She's going to Ethiopia and she's helping the people and she's doing all that. She's giving back. But on the other hand, she has a husband who's from Ethiopia, who's a grown ass man that she's holding his passwords hostage. And he's a grown ass man. Let him have his social media. It's giving me Angela vibes, and I don't like it. I don't
Yes,
like it.
it's
If you're
horrible for her to do that.
If that was your child, I get it. That is your husband. Okay, he hurt you, he cheated on you. I understand. You're mad about that. Be mad about that. But what we're not about to do is we're not about to start controlling grown ass people. That's what we're not about to do. You're not
Or
taking my
trying,
social media because you think that you're punishing me. You're not going to tell me where I can and cannot go. You're all the things. That's why he's bucking up, you guys. That's why he's like, you're a liar, and give me my social media. He feels boxed in, and I would feel boxed in too because I'm grown. Now,
right.
on the flip side of that, which is why I'm telling you I haven't formed a full opinion on these two, I do think that they didn't have enough time as a couple before she got pregnant, right? Because she got pregnant, what, like 3 to 5 months into knowing him?
Mhm.
And it's been hard ever since. And I also don't agree with her taking the son and just leaving, because again, that's both of your sons. So I'm up in the air about them. You guys let me know what you think. April, you let me know what you think.
I think even before watching anything else, I think it's time for them to go their separate ways. Because when you start saying things like, Avi wants us to be together, that baby doesn't know anything,
Mm-mm.
you know?
Yep.
And that should never be your impetus for staying in a relationship. Your sole impetus for staying in a relationship should not be, oh, we had a kid together. Especially the circumstance under which you had the kid together, not like you were together for 19 years and then you had a kid. Like you didn't even have a foundation when you had the kid. So
Yep.
it's okay. And if you're going to be able to go your separate ways amicably, you can't be trying to force physical affection. I have a last, like, even though I said what I said about Ari earlier, I do get that vibe from her as well. You remember when she went back to Ethiopia in the first season that we saw her, and she
Mm-hmm.
was upset because Benny had cut his hair off? Like, your partner is not a thing. Your partner is not property. Your partner belongs to themselves. They don't belong to you. And everyone has some work to do. Shout out to Danielle real quick. We had a long conversation about race and racism, anti-blackness. Everybody has work to do, no matter how good you think you are. Everybody has a little bit of work to do on themselves. And I think Ari has some work to do because
Agreed.
the way she treats Binyam is definitely an extension of white supremacy. Let's
One
just say it.
and yes,
Let's just say it.
yes, yes. That's it. That is my personal take on it. And until, like you said, the work is done and where she sees, hey, listen, you don't own him. You don't own him. He's a full man. He's a full man. You may not like some of the things that he does, but at the end of the day, you do not own him. You have no right to how he dresses and how he acts. You chose him, but you don't own him. And something that
Correct.
he said in this first episode stuck with me. It seems very basic, right? And I know that it's English as a second language thing. However, it's gonna really amplify my point. So when they were in the room and she kicked him out, and he was like, "Well, no, why don't you leave?" And she was like, "No, get out." That is a simple version of the power and control and who she thinks she is, right? Because if you're that uncomfortable, you too could also just leave and get your own room, but you never thought of that. You never thought of that because there's a
Right.
differential in how you see this relationship.
I mean, the whole like, let me show you how to hug your wife. This is how you hug your wife. I'm like, girl, you're not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this in public?
Exactly. Exactly. Julia and Brandon, 30 and 31. You go first.
Excited. I was
Pardon?
excited to see Julian, Brandon.
Uh-huh.
I was excited about their first season. Julia is really funny on Instagram. So I was excited to see them. But I think their issues are going to be that Brandon is probably still immature. Um, Brandon doesn't really have a chance to not be immature because we see his parents and how they act. Um, and I think when I first saw them, now I've watched Beyond, but when I first saw them, I thought that part of their issue was going to be that Julia wanted to move away from that town they're living in,
Mm.
that she would want to have like more things to do and explore and see, and more culture around her. That's what I thought, my first impressions.
I think that I think their issues are these. I think that Julia is a city girl and she still wants to party and have a city life. Brandon is a country guy, grew up on a farm, wants to like just chill, like his parents, be married for like 30 years, pop out a few babies and call it a day. I think that he's more conservative. I think she's more liberal and they're not meeting in the middle. I do think in the like hype of falling in love and long distance and wanting to be together that they skipped a few steps. I do think that the issue where he's like, I want to move forward in life, he wants to have some children. I think that he validates himself in family, which is fine. And she said that she wanted to have kids and now she changed her mind. However, now they're married and it's going to be a source of contention, right? And yes, you're absolutely allowed to change your mind, but that also comes with age and being so young and not knowing exactly what you want when you're young. And I think that that's what their issue is going to be. Their issue is going to be he wants to settle down, pop up some babies, and she's like, I don't want to have babies because that's not where my focus is and I still want to party and have fun. I do think that they're completely different personalities. And I know that someone in the chat said like very opposite. They are very opposite. And sometimes opposites can attract, but sometimes opposites are just opposite, April. Sometimes opposites are just like, no.
I wonder if this is what Brandon wanted his like somebody like his mom that would just want to be on the farm and have kids and all that. Absolutely. Why didn't he just marry somebody who wanted that? Like even before she changed her mind about not wanting to have kids, she was never that person. She was never that farm girl. She was never that homemaker.
Yeah. And also, let's also address that Brandon is a mama's boy, grew up a mama's boy, and therefore, like even that the Mila, the comment that you're making about not packing his own socks, like when he didn't do any of his own packing, again, you're a grown ass man, Brandon. Like she said, she's not your mom.
Right.
She's not gonna pack your panties and your socks for you. Like what's going on here? I just see them as so totally different and wanting different things. And here we are in a relationship where you can either go one way or the other way, and she's not ready to do all the settle down baby thing. The overall goal, April, I think for this season is communication and nurturing relationships. I think
Yes.
that's the overall goal for all of the couples. However, let's talk about some of the people that are problematic. We're going to talk about Natalie first. What are some of the red flags you're seeing in the relationship?
Her immediate disdain for the other girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to build any community. You don't want to have any fun with the girls. Like girls are so much more fun than guys are.
Yeah. Red flag, red flag, red flag. I also think that Josh being 43 and not ready to settle down and being like that playboy mentality, bro, you're 43. You're not 33. You're not 23. You're 43, which is closer to 50 than it is to 30. Like, if you don't want to ever settle down in your life, that's fine. But don't start stringing along these girls. Tell them exactly what you want, exactly what you're looking for. If you're a wham, bam, hit it, ma'am type of guy, say that so that she can make an informed decision, because you know
that's not what you want.
Exactly what she wants. She's telling you exactly what she wants. And now, here's how I know, in my opinion, that Josh is for the streets. I always encourage people, be upfront with what you want. If the person doesn't want that, then move your separate ways. It makes no sense to start dating someone for 1 month, 3 months, 1 year, 3 years. If you're saying from the very beginning, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for to settle down, to have a family, to be in a committed relationship, to be in a monogamous relationship, whatever your list is. And the other person's like, oh, I don't know. Let's see how it goes. We're going to give this like 3 weeks and then we'll decide where they're going to be together. No, he knows exactly what he wants. It's not her.
It's not her.
And it's not settling down, period. Not right now in this time of his life, even though he's 43 years old. Red flags.
Very unfortunate for her.
But she's also a hanger-oner. Like you haven't been to this fool's house in 3 years?
In 3 years. There's a responsibility. Okay, Natalie should know to let him go, right? But I also think there's a responsibility for Josh and people in Josh's situation. If that person keeps on coming back and coming after you, and you know that you're never going to give them what they're asking for, I think you should be responsible enough to just go ahead and block them out of your life.
Facts. Jaslo, facts. He is absolutely those things that you're saying, and he definitely didn't make it clear what he wants out of this, whatever this is.
He let it stay ambiguous. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If somebody's letting it stay ambiguous, they don't want you.
That's right. That's right. Florian. What are Florian's red flags?
Florian doesn't have any red flags. Florian's perfect, and nobody can convince me otherwise.
Listen.
Florian is out until 5 a.m. doing Bible study.
Florian. Okay, so Florian did not come to this retreat to work on his relationship. That's just not where he is. He's great TV. He is a little bit of a disturber. The fact that they have the happy hour and the first thing he did was try to like cause conflict between Julia and Natalie was hilarious to me. The fact that he's all up in Ari's business with Benny, hilarious to me. The fact that he's just everywhere but so detached, you guys, it is classic.
That's why
Classic.
Florian's a pig and slop. He is happy as a clam. Okay.
Man.
He likes being in this mess.
You know, there's no moving forward in his relationship, but he will be great TV. Ari, we kind of talked about her red flags. Jocelyn says his face is a red flag.
He makes the best faces in those confessionals. I'm gonna start taking screenshots of them.
Yeah, I agree, Jessica. I think that Josh is just there for the show as well. He has no intention of being in a long-term relationship with Natalie at all.
I don't think he has any intentions of being in a long-term relationship with anybody, period. Not just Natalie, but anybody, period. That's just not, he doesn't give, he might, when he's ready for hospice, he might be like, okay, now it's time to settle down. He'll be looking for a hospice wife.
A hospice wife! Can we talk about when Benny was shaking Ari's hand and how you would feel about that as the mother of his child?
The father of my child, we don't shake hands either. We do less.
Wait, what? So you were okay with that whole interaction?
I think that given the issues that she knows that they have, I don't understand why she expected there to be a different kind of reception. You know, like it depends. Like if you're one of those couples who you agree that no matter what is going on in your lives, that you're always going to greet each other, great. But I've never been one of those couples. So for me, whatever happened in our lives, no matter what setting we're now in, that's how I'm about to greet you.
We're going to have our first disagreement. I think that Benny is 100% super shady and immature for that. And here's why. I have been with a dude who is like that, where, you know what? You either like a little bit. No, I'm not even going to say that part. You're being an asshole and you know you're being an asshole. You come in with all the attitude. If you don't want to hug me, don't hug me, but don't disrespect me by putting out your hand to shake my hand. Just be like, hey, what's up? Or whatever. Or don't say anything. But then don't flip around and be like, hey, everybody, life of the party, hugging everyone else. Like, it's rude and it's immature and it's disrespectful.
So what was he supposed to do?
Come up to her or not come up to her, but don't make it so it's like, hey, let me shake your hand real quick.
You know what I would have done? I would have said, hey, I've just arrived. Can you come meet me real quick before I see everybody else or before we mix and mingle with other people? Let's chat for a little bit. That would have been appropriate, right?
It would have been appropriate, but he's too immature to do that. Because when he came in, first of all, him coming in last, that wasn't not on purpose.
That was a production thing.
Him walking in and then flipping around to the camera and then continuing to like showboating the whole way. That was on purpose. So his showboating and disrespecting Ari was all on purpose. Okay. All on purpose. I'm not for it. If you have problems with your baby mama, have problems with your baby mama, but then don't go up to her and disrespect her by shaking her hand, because still, she's the mother of your child. If you don't want to talk to her, don't talk to her. But don't act like you're coming up here and she's all like, woo, 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 and she's an effing lie. The way he speaks to her, his body language towards her, he's checked out. Fool's already met another woman. He's already posted online, kissing up on her. He's done with Ari. He just wants his passwords and his social media back so that he can start making money on social media, period.
I do agree with the very last thing that you said. And who's making him do this, though? Who won't just give him his passwords back?
And that part, that's why I struggle with these two, because they're both They're both not in the right as far as I'm concerned. I'm struggling. I'm not on either of their sides because they're both acting ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. And like, let's step up our maturity for the simple fact that you're parents and you have a child that's looking up to you.
Right.
And when I tell you, these little toddlers post COVID, they're so smart. They see everything, they watch everything, and they know everything. So if you all think that you're doing something and they're not seeing it, you are sadly mistaken. So
Oh,
grow up, put on your big boy and girl pants, and co-parent like adults.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, I want to talk about Natalie and Julia, and we touched upon this, and kind of like girl code and how we treat one another. Because moving into 2025, what we're not about to do is bully each other, and we're not about to talk smack. Like, I'm going to talk smack, you guys, of the show. But I'm saying, like, in real life. Okay?
Right.
In real life, I don't think it's appropriate for you to be like, hey, are you pregnant? Oh, what? You got fat. You put on weight. I think that is a hater attitude, and hateration ages you. Do you know that I am a firm believer, and I know there's no science behind it, but if you have hate in your heart and it just oozes out of your body, it ages you, and it also makes you sick. And there are many people in this franchise that I could name that if you saw them like 3 years ago and you're like, ooh, what happened, is because they're hateful. They're hateful individuals. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and name them. I think Angela has aged poorly is because she's full of hate.
And she's a bad example because she already looked bad in the very beginning.
Well, you know, when she first started, she didn't look as bad as she does now. And also, Mike 90 Day, not Natalie's Mike, the other Mike,
The one that went to Colombia?
Yes. He's in his 30s, you guys. I just think that, you know, I don't know if you guys know that he had a whole like racist tirade online that got exposed while his season aired. But that hate now has aged him, and he's only like in his 30s, and he looks like he's like 60.
I'm
So
not surprised. He was a
don't be
horrible
full of
person.
hate. That's my point, is don't be full of hate. It's not good for your soul. I do feel like, what did you think of the happy hour?
Okay.
Yes, Mike from, I always say her name wrong.
Himina.
Emina?
Himina.
Oh, okay, Himina.
So okay, to make sure I don't go past episode 1, this happy hour was at the resort, right?
Yes.
Okay.
When everyone was just arriving.
Yeah. You know, back to Julia really quickly. She was clearly like going over to extend an olive branch to Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
And given that one of their languages is the same, wouldn't you immediately want to gravitate to the person who speaks one of your primary languages? So it made it extra hateful to me. Like, there were layers of hate in the way that Natalie responded. I thought it was very nice that Julia didn't say, okay, I tried, and just pack it up.
Yep.
Because somebody like me would have been like, oh, that's what you want to do? Okay.
See, you guys, yes, I'm nice Canadian, but I can be petty, and I can be petty AF. And I would hope, no, I already know. I would hope that I would be the bigger person, but I would not be the bigger person.
I'm not even hoping
That's
to be the
something I
bigger
have to
person.
work on, because I would not then have apologized and like got up and like tried to make it well and all of the things. I would have gone down and dirty and gotten right up in there, and it would have been a wrap.
Right.
So kudos to Julia for rising above.
Kudos to Julia.
I do think Natalie's a jealous individual. I think she's really jealous of Sophie. And I spoke on that at the top of the show, where I just think that she's threatened by other beautiful women. She wants to be
her comments about Sophie really bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I am being weird. Like, am I being weird about Sophie? Am I being protective about Sophie? Like, why did it bother me more the way that she was talking about Sophie than anybody else?
I'm not sure. We should delve into that in our next episode next week.
Okay.
Because I think there was more said in episode 2 than there was in episode 1. So we'll circle back to that for sure. I do want to mention also, let's talk about the group therapy. First of all, you guys, I didn't like the fact that they switched up the therapist except for the sex educator. I wish they stayed consistent. What were your thoughts about the new therapists?
I didn't have any like particular thoughts about the new therapist. I wasn't in love with the last one, so it didn't matter to me.
I like consistency. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to be invested, like let me be invested. If this is going to be like a multiple season thing, don't switch up the people that we're getting to know, because then I'm going to know your style of therapy. Then I'm going to be able to think about, is that going to work for this couple? But now I have to like learn the therapist again, except for Reba Thomas, who's the certified sex educator who was from season 1 as well. I think she's going to be really great. And all of them have sex issues. So I think that's going to be great.
That was
Heidi,
surprising, wasn't it? We didn't talk about that. I was surprised how many people have sex issues.
they all do.
That's
Except for Josh and Natalie. Heidi Klapman, licensed professional counselor. Her focus is on cognitive behavior, couples work, individual work, and addictions. I do think it's interesting that she focuses on addictions, because there are some people that have addictive personalities in there and perhaps have some addictions that they don't know are addictions yet. So I think that's good. And then James Keller, psychotherapist, focus on cognitive behavioral therapy. It sounds to me like he's going to be like the lead therapist in this. So we'll see. 3 weeks. Then they do a recommitment ceremony. Some will recommit, some will not. Do you want to do like a guesstimate?
Yes.
Who's going to say again? Okay, so Rob and Sophie.
No.
Gino and Jasmine.
Yes.
Stacy and Florian.
Yes.
Ari and Benny.
No.
Julia and Brandon.
No.
Oh, surprising. Josh and Natalie.
No.
Okay. I say Robin, Sophie, no. Gino and Jasmine, no. Stacy and Florian, yes. Ari and Benny, no. Julie and Brandon, yes. And Josh and Natalie, no.
What is the way that you think that Julie and Brandon are going to work out of the I don't want to have a kid, I want a kid?
I think.
Or do you already know? Okay. You don't have to say if you already know. I thought you could just make a guess.
No, I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but I don't know for sure. I'll say that. I'll leave it at that for now.
Listen,
as we move into the season, I'll put you up on some game.
Okay. Little advice. Do not ever have a kid for your partner. Only have a kid if you want to be a parent. Do not have a child because your partner wants one. Never, ever, ever do it, because you're going to regret it. Like, even though there will be happy moments and you'll enjoy yourself, it's going to change every single facet of your life. And it's not worth it unless it's something that you want on your own.
Yes, I agree with
Free
you.
advice, because I peed on myself 3 times today. Sneeze, pee, sneeze, pee, sneeze, pee. You know why? Childbirth. That's what I have to live with. Not him. He's not having any urethra problems, just me. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so let's talk about, I'm going to leave that alone for a minute because that's a whole other conversation. Like you and I in the green room, we already talked about this a little bit. Okay, why is each couple there? Brandon says they're not on the same page. He wants to have kids. They're not having sex. That's a problem for him. So couple 1, sex issue. Okay. Her excuse, not excuse, her reasoning is because she's been homesick, she misses her parents, and Brandon is not really seeing that that's the big issue. Jasmine and Gino, second couple that are having sex issues. 8 months. Listen, friends.
8 months.
We could not be married and not have sex for 8 months. Like, it just couldn't happen. I'm sorry. Like, someone is cheating in that relationship. And that's probably why these pregnancy rumors are out there that are saying it's not Gino's baby. Because, you know, you got to get it from somewhere. You got to get it from somewhere. Unless you're like abstinent and you're not getting it and you're not in a relationship, I get that. But if you're in a relationship and you have someone who comes home every day or married to or whatever, and y'all are sleeping in the same house, apartment, tin, whatever, tent, whatever, and y'all aren't getting it on.
8 months is super wild. You're not, like, it's not an issue of them having a schedule where they're not able to see each other. She can't even go anywhere.
I'm just saying, how do y'all in the same house? What you
That's
doing?
really, yeah.
That's a big problem. It's a big problem. It's a big problem. Rob and Sophie, again, sex is an issue. Not that they're not having it, but they're having it with other people. So infidelity and communication is an issue. Natalie and Josh, sex is not the issue. The issue is that he doesn't want to be with her. That's it.
He doesn't want to be with her, and she is, to her detriment, trying to use sex as a way to keep him.
That's right. And you guys, that's not going to work because
it's never going to work.
Never. It's never going to work. Nope. Long term. Listen, you can have sex with anyone, you guys. You really can if you really wanted to. So if you're thinking that, you know, putting out is the way to keep a man or keep a woman or keep other, you know, the whole list, that's not how it's going to work. It's just not. Because you know what? You can get sex anywhere. I do want to say this one more time. Josh is 43. He's a grown-ass man. He can use his words and say, hey, listen, I'm for the streets and I'm an F-boy and that's all I want to do. And I would be okay with that. I would respect the fact that he was mature enough to say that I don't want to be in a relationship. But the fact that you're stringing this woman along who you already know is crazy, who you already know is desperate to be in a relationship, who you already know is a jealous, insecure person, for you to string her along and then act like she's crazy for acting the way she is, you're the problem. She's already crazy. You're just making her crazier because you're acting like you want to be with her because the sex is great. And, you know, I've heard it before. Sex is great with crazy people. And, like, I will tell you that is true.
I think he probably... Guys, she just threw us a personal nugget. She threw us a personal nugget.
I'm just saying, April, that is true.
He probably also likes that she is chasing him so much. It probably feeds his ego a little bit.
100%. But you know what? Have you ever had sex with a crazy person?
We've talked about my propensity for Jamaicans.
Well, that's totally different. They're not necessarily, that's a totally different. That's something totally different. You know what I mean? Goslow, the baby leg. That's what that is. That's not that. I'm saying like a crazy person, like someone who's like, oh, this is a good time.
Not like possessive and aggressive and jealous the way that Natalie is. Not like that. Like, I couldn't actually live like that. I'm too much of an introvert to ever be associated with somebody like that. I can't even stand somebody double texting me.
I'll say this. You don't want to be in a long-term relationship with someone crazy. But if you're just like in the mode where Josh is in the mode where it's like, hey, I want to have fun, and you meet this crazy, let me tell you, it is very entertaining. And you will not leave your house for like a week because you're like bouncing all over the place because the person is wild and you're like spending time thinking, oh my God, this person is so wild. And then you're having a great time. But you got to remember that, like, you can't, if that's not sustainable. But I will say this, woo.
It's a
Oh,
ride.
you and Jocelyn have something
Me
in
and
common.
Joslo, we're here again. We're here
Yeah,
again.
sisters from another mister. Um,
We missing somebody else that's having sex problems. We didn't talk about Brandon and Julia.
we did,
Did
didn't
we?
we?
Did we?
I think we did. Basically, they're not having sex because I think she's using it as a tool over him because she doesn't want to get pregnant. And he wants to have sex because he's a man, and also he wants to have a baby.
Hmm.
No?
I don't know why they're having sex problems. I couldn't gather what the issue was. So I'm gonna go with what you said.
Yeah, she doesn't want to have a baby with him. And so she thinks that if she just stops having sex, then the risk is, zero.
So do you think she's trying to push him away, push him to be the one to file for divorce?
No, I think that she thinks he's not going anywhere and that she's going to be able to continue down this path because she said what she said. And he's going to have to go along with it. That's what I think. Oh, we didn't talk about Stacy. So Stacy and Florian don't think sex is their issue. I think that he doesn't think that they have issues. I think he thinks everything is perfectly okay and he's just there for a good time. Now, one of the things I did want to ask you, April, because I didn't like it as a woman who's, over 30 myself. Do you remember the part when Julia and Brandon were talking about Florian and Stacy's relationship? And Brandon said basically that the reason why Florian is allegedly cheating is because he married an old woman. And then Julia said, well, that's kind of what happens when you marry your mom. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, so that's what happened in the first episode. I didn't appreciate it because y'all are 30 in your 30s yourselves. 33, I think they are. How old are these two fools? Oh, 30 and 31. And the way they talked about Stacy being 49 and Florian being 32 and that she was too old, and the fact that she's old, that's why this young guy's going to cheat on her. First of all, let me tell you a little something, okay? Women in their 40s and going into their 50s, a lot of them are at their sexual prime. And I know that because you two are young, immature fools that you did not know that, and that's why the ignorance popped out of your mouth. But a lot of these women are having the best sex of their life because guess what? They're in their prime. So that's the
We're
first thing.
also going to bed at 9:30.
The second thing that I cannot stand is that it's okay still in 2025 for an old ass man who's 60 to be dating a 20 something and y'all don't say anything about it because it's okay because he's a sugar daddy. But then you have a 49-year-old Stacy who's married for 5+ years to a 32-year-old, and all of a sudden she's his mom. Like, y'all need to get out of here because I'm done with the double standard. She looks good for her age, although, like, I don't want.
No. Let's do it. She looks good right now. I don't know what she did, like to tone down the like hyperplastic surgery look, but right now she looks great.
Right. All I'm saying is, and I agree, the age shaming is crazy this season. What we're not about to do is we're not about to keep the double standard in 2025. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of these women, I mean, all of them really, they all look better than their partners. They're all beautiful. They all look way better than the partners. Some of them are older, some of them are same age, but guess what? Their partners look old as F. Old. I mean, the only person that you could probably say is somewhat, I'll give a 1 and 2, somewhat decent looking is Rob. And I'll give Josh the consolation prize. But his personality makes him not like attractive to me because I'm like, you're 43 acting like you're 25. Like, get it together. You have a full grown up son and you're acting like you're the prize. Like, I'm just not into those type of guys. But I get that he's like an attractive person to people. But if you want to talk about the partners, Sophie, beautiful. Jasmine, beautiful. Stacy, beautiful. Ari, beautiful. Julia, beautiful. Even Natalie, beautiful in her own crazy way. So you put all that together, We're not shaming these beautiful women for what's the purpose? Because they're older? They still look better than their partners. So like, let's stop that. Can we stop that, April?
Yeah, it's also different because Stacy didn't go look for a partner to be a piece of furniture or just a decorative ending. She was looking for a partner who was compatible with her. We can disagree about whether or not she found that, but she wasn't like the way that old men are when they go look for young women. You know, she
Listen,
wasn't looking for somebody to dominate or control. She was looking for a real partner she could have conversations with and finish raising her kids with and do family thing. You know what I mean?
all that. All that.
So it was different, and there's really no reason for anyone to be talking about the age difference between her and Florian because they have the longest relationship of everyone there, right?
That part. That part. And then on that note, you guys, we love you. We'll be back next week. We're covering the entire season. We are back. We are
We're back.
back. Yes.
It's going to get juicier, so come back.
So make sure this is going to be a regular time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be back next week for episode 2. And you guys make sure you're following us, you're liking us, you're telling people about us. We're trying to blow up this year, 2025. We're doing all the things. And we're going to head over to TikTok. Are we heading over to TikTok right now?
Let's head over to TikTok.
We're heading over to TikTok for a quick little live because April is a TikTok star. And we'll see you next week. And if not, we'll see you over on TikTok shortly. Bye, guys. Oh, I don't have an outro video.